That's why it's so organized in here, because Alfredo sets it up. And that's Linda.
There it is.
Steve, how are you?
Excellent. Good to see you. Good to see you.
What's that word?
This is Linda,
Okay. I don't think I met you.
Linda, this is Tim.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very good. Good to see you.
I'm doing fine.
Good to see you.
What did that word mean inside?
I'm not sure. I kind of know what it means.
We decided against,
Hey, what?
Well, of course, this is easier for me, so that I didn't want to.
we're not done.
I didn't want to be. Not my personal.
Form itself was tight.
Stairs. All right.
This morning, Jamie, who's the,
The only thing I think about the church is it's kind of, if you have 20 people, it's kind of, you're not filling it, so it's kind of, you know what I mean? Well, maybe I'm different. My remembrance of it, you know, at least twice, 3 times as long as this, so maybe not. I have.
and then all the chairs are like this.
Inside.
Either space is good parking.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Personal or mental process, intelligent, and clear thinking. She was incisive, pretty.
No, but I'm at park.
Yeah, well, they have the floor farm, but also the business next door.
You want to see?
Yeah, it's much better. Ken's gonna
Clear thinking. Of a person or mental process.
Oh, what?
So see, you have a plan.
he records everything. He puts it on the website. That's what she had, his speech. Oh, definitely was down there. Did you read your speech today?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, we did. Did you talk to?
Yeah, I talked to
To vote for best table topic speaker. Yes.
Where's everybody?
They're coming.
Oh, mark their card. They're late. You said 15 to 7.
Some people are like popcorn. They will only have success when they are under pressure or under heat. We are under pressure and there is heat here, so I hope we will be popcorn tonight. Welcome to tonight's Toastmaster session. We start at 7:01. And my name is Alfredo Perez. I'm the official of the session, and my job is to prepare the room so you can find it ready and focus on your tasks of today and your adventures of the night, and also to introduce or to open the session. Let me read for you the club mission. Is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. So let me introduce you to Joel Morando, our president, who will go on with the session. Have fun and learn a lot.
Great leaders create more leaders. Thank you for joining us to this Toastmaster session in Lago de Chapala Club. It's my pleasure to start the meeting on time. Thank you to all of you that comes to the meeting before 7 p.m. so we can start on time. Last weekend we have a training for officials. It was very, very good. We learned a lot because I'm new as a president. You are new. Everyone in the officers are new in this task. So I will try to be the best president for you. It's a pleasure for me to introduce our Toastmaster today. We have one guest joining us. So I will pass the floor to the Toastmaster of the day, Cinta Jimenez, so she can introduce our guest.
Never stop learning, because life never stops teaching. I want to start with this sentence because, as our president said, this weekend we went to officer training and we learned a lot. And that's the reason that we are here. Why we are here? Today, I will be in charge of guiding the session, but I will not be alone. And before that, we have a guest. Hi. Would you like to introduce you? Your name and who invites you?
Well, I'm Mario. I'm here because this lady recommended me to come here and practice my speech with the people here at Toastmasters. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Holy.
Return the agenda. There are a work team to guide the session with me, and that team will be guided by Maureen Jones, who is our general evaluator today.
Thank you, Toastmaster today. My job today is to observe the progress that we're making and how much fun we're having in our club. I have a team that helps me to do that. The first person I would like you to meet is our counter. He stepped outside. So I'll move right on to our grammarian, who's Tim Schubert's going to tell us what his job is.
He comes everywhere that I go anymore. He's a very incisive person. And that's the word of the day, which is part of the other task, is to suggest this word, in this case, incisivo,
two words that probably not many people use in English or Spanish. They're not that common. Incisive means to be really direct and often a little bit of an edge, a little bit sharp, like a knife. So it's not usually with a smile exactly. Could be, but it's not serious. So my goal, besides bringing up words that are hard to use, is to comment on the grammar, and there's a lot to be commented on. I'll try to find things that are useful in how to use the English language. That's my job as an American.
Thank you, Tim. He's very incisive about observing the use of the English language. The other helper is going to be someone that counts the O's. Joel Morano, would you tell us your job?
My role tonight is to count the O's, pauses, word fillers, everything we use to fill the spaces in what we're thinking about. I will report at the end of the meeting to the general manager.
Thank you, Joel. And we have a special guest from what's your club name? Tech. Who's going to be our Tech de Chapala?
Yes.
And I'm so glad he's here because he's going to be our timekeeper. Owen, tell us what you do as timekeeper.
Hello. I am the timer. The speaker one Alfredo is the 5 and 7 in the 5 minutes is the green. In 6 minutes is yellow. In 7 is red. The icebreaker is the 4 minute green. The 5 minutes is yellow. In 6 minutes is red. The third topic is the 1 minute green. 1 minute half is yellow, and is a 2 minute yellow, and 3 minute is red.
2 minutes is red.
2 minutes is red. Is four.
Oh, the evaluators have 3 minutes.
Okay. The 3 seconds para finalizar. You finish your practice.
Los evaluadores tienen 3 minutos.
Okay. Los evaluadores Sarana and Cynthia is the 3 minutes. The 3 minutes is the 1 minute is green, 2 minutes is yellow, and 3 minutes is red.
It's 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and 3
What
minutes.
evaluators?
Dos minutes y
Dos minutes.
Thank you, ladies. And we have a vote counter who has already distributed papers to keep track of who you like best. And Sarana, would you tell us what we do as counting the votes?
Thank you. To make the most fun part of our meeting even more fun, we get to vote on who we think did a very good job with table topics. So on this little piece of paper, you're going to write 6 names. Column 1 will be 3 names who you think were the best basic speakers for table topics. And then on the other side, you'll write the best advanced speakers for table topics. So you're going to write a number 1 who you think is the best speaker, number 2 the second best, and the third. And then you'll hand me these papers, these pretty colored papers, and I'll count up the votes for each table topic speaker.
Thank you, Sarana.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you. The first part of our agenda is the prepared speeches. Today we have 3 year is to read 40 books. One of his motivations is to learn new things every day. He has a big heart that likes to help people and create a change of favors. Our speaker is Alfredo, and his evaluator is Sarana. Sarana, could you explain us the objectives?
The form he gave me is in Spanish, and then to practice my Spanish, I will read the objective in Spanish and then again in English. So, el propósito de este proyecto es que el socio presente un discurso sobre cualquier tema, reciba comentarios y los aplique en un segundo discurso. So the objective of this project is to present a well-organized speech, receive feedback from me and others in the club if they want to provide it, and then he'll give the same speech again at a later date and hopefully incorporate that feedback.
Thank you, Sarana. Please give a big applause to Alfredo Perez with his speech, Why Mexicans Avoid to Say No. Why Mexicans Avoid to Say No, Alfredo Perez.
Negrita of my sorrows, paper eyes flying. Tell everyone yes, but don't tell them when. That's why you said to me, that's why I live in sorrow. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmaster, guests, everybody. There are cliches and realities. Each culture moves among them like a fish in the sea. Other cultures choose to believe in them or not. There comes a time when they become part of what we like or hate about ourselves or about others. But let's stop and review some of the cliches I have learned throughout my life about how we Mexicans are. And we are used to listen to things like this. We are lazy. We live in the desert, in small towns of half-destroyed wooden houses and face sandy winds and a lot of heat under a sepia sky. We wear pique hats, sarapes, and mustache in the style of the time of revolution. Napping is unforgivable. We talk like Speedy Gonzalez. We are all short, dark-skinned, and serval. We are late everywhere. We eat everything with chili and tequila. We are exotic. And we don't dare to say no. We don't dare to say no. Let's stick with this cliche and review where it comes from. Have you ever run into a friend that you haven't seen for a while walking on the street? You encounter this person, greet each other effusively, and suggest to go for a coffee or a chela, chela beer, some time to catch up on each other's lives. And you both say to each other, sure, yeah, I'll call you, let me see if I can do it, I think so, and a long, etc. phrases that are a disguised no. Neither intends to meet with the other, but they don't say it to each other directly, openly. Instead, they say yes to each other, but they don't say when. Just as the song, El Son de la Negra, that says, Negrita of my sorrows, paper eyes flying, tell everyone yes, but don't tell them when. That's what you said to me, that's what I live in sorrow. And there are several theories about this. For example, this part of Mexican culture, it's the way of saying yes with the meaning of no, and we are experts. For example, the anthropologist and sociologist Bartra says that it is a complicated issue because not all Mexicans, of course, are that way. And it varies depending on the region and of the social class, among other things, of course. But there is a cultural substratum, possibly of indigenous origin, especially in central Mexico and on the west, meaning here, that establishes certain forms of politeness, and for which it is not very polite to say no openly. For those who say no, means a confrontation with their interlocutor. And this comes from colonial times, she says, or he says, partly. During the colony, there was a profound disparity where the tradition of indigenous courtesy that was confronted with a brutal domination. The submissive and servant always had to say yes or. If we notice, this indicates that we are not dealing with a single Mexican culture, but we deal with many mini Mexicos. And there is another theory about this by a psychologist called Stella. He says that there is a great inequality between those who hold authority and those who follow it. And it's noted in families. For example, we have someone, the magician says it's our dad, but in truth it's our grandma, and then our mothers who hold the authority at home. Whatever she says is what it's done. And we submit, we obey, and we respect that hierarchy. And the same psychology says that we are more attached to collectivism than individualism. So about saying no, or avoiding saying no, it's an adaptive solution. Being ambiguous, and I'm going to give you examples. Delaying the resolution serves to avoid hurting the sensitivity of the group, because it is very important to all of us to be together. On the other hand, the anthropologist Elvira Campos says that there are two ways Mexicans use to say without saying no openly. For example, if you receive an invitation and you cannot accept it or don't want to, or you have to do, they ask you for a favor and you don't want to do it or you can't, the first thing to do is to leave it ambiguous. Let's say, for example, if they call you, there's a party you should come, I'll call you, I'm not really sure. Yeah, sure, let's make a plan. That would be the first part. You never use the word no, you say, I'll tell you, I'll see, let me think, I have a see, let me check my agenda, etc. And then the second way is the nuance, to make it softer. So we give an explanation. For example, I have homework, I have a lot of work, I haven't slept well, I don't know, probably I won't be able to do it this time. Or you say yes, and a few minutes before the meeting, you call and say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to go, if you call. And this is very common. We see it every day. It is combined, to make it worse, with Mexican time. Of course, Mexican time, Chinese time.
Mañana.
Mañana, for example. Oh, yeah. In Mexican time, for example, it's combined with the arrivals, late arrivals, or non-arrivals at all. And also the word ahorita, that has no place in time, but in space. So also Mexicans hold courtesy and good manners in high esteem. This is very important to us. But politeness implies contradicting the other as little as possible and doing one's best to agree with him. This is just the primary form of the use of that, of the high politeness. So these theoreticals say that we are good with the language when we want to be polite, and we are very sophisticated in communication that way, because we will say yes, meaning no, and you're going to say thank you in the end. So now, this thing does not only exist in Mexico, it exists in other countries. I mean, the use of the phrase that you see the words, but it means the opposite. So, for example, when you don't want a vendor close to you and you say, no gracias, they will insist. But if you only say gracias, you will notice magically they go away. And it happens a lot. But returning to Mexican and Spanish, I want to end with another example of another Mexican song that reflects our idiosyncrasy. And it is from Jose Alfredo Jimenez songs. For those Mexicans, I hope you understand, because he's going to say it, I'm going to say it in English. It says, I got tired of begging her. I got tired of telling her that without her, I die of grief. The woman, in this case, never answered Jose Alfredo, said one of the experts.
The next speaker is a new member.
You're there.
Name is Ken Nito. Yes. Ken has chosen to take the effective coaching pathway. This is his icebreaker speech. He's going to talk about Toastmaster has changed his life and how he can help our club. He's working on smoothing out his speech by leaving out filler words like and so. Please welcome, his evaluator is Maureen. Maureen, do you have the objectives of the speaker?
Yes. The objective of Ken's speech today is for us to get to know him and for him to practice talking about his most known topic himself.
Thank you, Maureen. Now, please welcome Ken Nito in How Toastmaster Changed My Life. How Toastmaster changed my life, Ken Nito.
This Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our guest. I have a story to tell, a Toastmaster story about my life in Toastmasters. Did you know that this group came together in 2012 and formed this group in 2012. Thanks a lot to Mr. Tim Schubert. He got 20 of us together and started the group. So it's been here for a while. About me, I was born in Houston, Texas, and I lived there most of my life. And I was really a shy person, and I was sort of in a trapped in world of not being able to meet people, not being able to talk to people, and it had a lot of limitations. So the hurricane came, Hurricane Katrina, and I moved to Austin. When my brother lived there, he invited me to move to Austin. He didn't want me to get caught in a hurricane. You know, my house was all right, but I rented it out and moved to Austin. And in Austin, I joined the Toastmasters group, and I found out that I was learning a lot. I was being able to, once I broke through the barrier of the first speech, I was able to learn a lot. So I joined 2 more groups. So I was going three times a week. And they had a contest called the Ambassadors Contest. In that district, it was to encourage members to network and meet other people at other clubs. But they told me, said, you're already in 3 clubs, we can't give you any points for this. For visiting clubs in this district. I said, I know what I want to start doing. I started emailing the Guadalajara Toastmaster clubs, and I got invited. So I went to Guadalajara for a month, and after a month, and after about 9 or 10 different visits at different clubs, I decided I was going to move to Mexico, and that's how I got here. And a couple of years later, I met my wife Joyce. I've been so shy. I was single for 20 years. But now I went to Toastmasters, and I thank Toastmasters for me finding her, because I couldn't communicate good enough to find her. And she's just perfect for me. So it really changed my life there. So about a month and a half ago, our 10th anniversary, I remember Toastmasters, and I put it on the Facebook page in a little article about me and coming to Mexico and coming into the ambassador clubs, to the ambassadors contest, and I came to the meeting, and I said, "Wow, it's still here." I remember it started 10 years ago. Time just flies away. So I decided I wanted to join back in. I have a lot of experience with web pages and YouTube videos, and like I'm making a video right now. Y'all can watch this on YouTube. So I said, there's a good opportunity for me to to give back to something that's really changed my life, and it'll probably help a lot of other people too. But they need people like me to spread the word. People that had good experience with Toastmasters. So I think we can make this club like one of the best Toastmaster clubs in the world. We can work together and practice our speaking and speaking. I'll put it on the YouTube so you can look at it and talk to each other about it and get advice on it. So, fellow Toastmasters, let's make this the best club, Toastmaster club in the world. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Kim. The third speaker of the evening is a new member, and and it's his first speech. He loves exercising, helping people, and reaches pleasure in life. Eating. Please give. I present you his evaluator, who is me, and I give you the objectives. El objetivo del discurso de Antonio es presentarse ante el club y ver en qué habilidades podemos trabajar. Por favor, con un fuerte aplauso recibamos a Antonio López con su discurso titulado Este soy yo, Antonio López.
Éxito es realizar progresivamente un propósito digno. Negative. Toastmaster, miembros invitados. Cuando era un niño, descubrí el interés por explorar y me di cuenta de lo maravilloso que es este mundo. Al mismo tiempo se despertó en mí la capacidad de asombro. Y surgen las preguntas: ¿qué es? ¿Cómo es? ¿Funciona? ¿Quién lo hizo? Provengo de una familia integrada por mamá, papá, 5 hermanas mayores que yo, un hermano menor y yo. Al último, porque el orden lo pide. Al ser tan curioso, nunca medía el riesgo al que me exponía. Y mi padre me decía: ten cuidado, te puedes lastimar. No hacía caso, yo continuaba. Recuerdo una ocasión que fui a un parque y corriendo descubrí mi primer obstáculo. Yo lo nombré miedo. Me fracturé un brazo. Dios mío, qué difícil. Fue un miedo tan tremendo que dije yo: ¡ay! ¡Wow! No me importó. Al tercer día yo ya andaba corriendo de nuevo, como que si nada hubiera pasado. Dije: Antonio, esto es una caída, no pasa nada, pan comido, síguele. Pero llega la edad y la etapa de ser adulto, la vida adulta. Ya saben, estudiar, trabajar, tener un título, relaciones de todo tipo. La vida de adulto. Preferiría seguir siendo niño. ¿Quién no ha pensado eso? He tenido momentos buenos, momentos malos, pero pues nunca me he detenido. Con la pasión de practicar ejercicio, me encanta. He practicado natación, full contact, he ido al gimnasio, es ahorita lo último que hago. Y ayudar. Ayudar me encanta. Y lo más padre, comer. ¿A quién no le gusta comer? Me describo y acepto como un hombre íntegro, vulnerable y confiado. Este soy yo. Toastmaster, miembros, invitados, gracias.
Thank you, Antonio. I'm nervous because I have to switch the language in my hair. And it isn't easy. Wait. The next part of our session is the table topics. And who is in charge is one of the new members, but I'm sure we will have a lot of fun with her. She? Her. Her? Her? Okay. Thank you. Please give a big applause to Alejandra Oregel, Table Topic Master.
Today wasn't easy, right? About learning, about a lot of things. But today, on Table Topics, we have a pleasure to use a DeLorean. DeLorean could go to the past and talk with ourselves, our younger selves, about anything that you guys say. If I was younger, I wish to know about that sometimes. And that's the reason today we have time for talk with ourselves, younger ourselves, about with this machine. We start with what you tell to your inner child about being shy all the time. If you was a shy child or you was a extrovert child, what you say to your inner child, Alfredo? ¿Qué le dirías a tu niño interior o al niño que fuiste? Si fuiste como tímido, ¿qué le puedes decir hoy? O si eras muy extrovertido, ¿qué le puedes decir hoy a tu interior?
Well, as a child, I was very introverted. Yeah, my best friends were the books, and of course I had friends, human friends. But I was the leader of the group all. So right now, if I had the chance to talk to him, I would say, whatever. Don't worry. It will get better in time. Just relax and take it step by step. Learn, try, taste, make mistakes, learn from them, and go on and on. Because there is no other way in life. That's to try successfully sometimes, bad other times, but in the end, you will keep that experience and it will make you happy as you go on the way.
Thank you for is what about your present person? Your younger self to be proud of you. What will your past self be proud of you right now? Team.
Otra vez en español.
Si pudieras hablar con tu yo del pasado, tu niño o tu persona más joven, ¿de qué estaría orgulloso de ti el día de hoy?
Table topic master, guest, and members. It's a very interesting question. What would I say today to my younger self to acknowledge what that younger self did that as a younger self I didn't appreciate exactly? One of the things that I did that I didn't really know that I was doing was that I did a very nice job in relating to my mother when she was in periods of alcoholism and or depression. I had a good relation with her based on who she was when she was well, but as she became ill, even though I didn't understand what was happening, I automatically adopted. I became a bit more caring. I took care of myself as well, and I helped the household function in ways that in some ways were a burden and maybe deprived me of aspects of my childhood, but on the other hand, prepared me to be a better person as I found those situations in the rest of my life. That often there are people who seem to be caring, to be cared about, and that it's valuable to be able to recognize when another person is in a distressed, difficult state of mind, and that by being caring and available and helping, I can make their healing better. So I think that would be what I would say to my younger self. Kid, you did a pretty good job. It was not always easy, but you made the best of it.
Being on the same way for this, what is your fondest memory about your school life or family life? Will be with Marisa. I will say in Spanish for everyone. ¿Cuál es tu mejor momento? ¿Cuál fue tu mejor momento en la vida escolar?
No tuvo ni uno.
Solo uno, ¿eh? Just one.
I will say that my best moment in my scholar stage was when the director of Tec de Monterrey, in the first semester of preparatoria, called me to his office to say, "Good job, you have a very good relationship energy. I'm thinking about what if we change you in the committee of the students that are going to represent the students into the institution, and you are the president?" Yes, and I said, well, let's talk with the one that is running for. And then he just asked for my experience. And he noticed that I was already with the most, you have the right to lose classes for 1 week. Even though in the classes is 3 times a week or 5 times a week, you just can't miss 1 week. and I had already passed that provision. So I was not able to qualify to that example of being a very good student. But I had this energy since then to get together with people and have his attention, their attention. So I feel proud of myself those little minutes that I talked to him, that I was feeling like he wants to talk to me and he's proposing me something great, but I didn't qualify. That memory keeps in my life because yes, it doesn't have to be just for school. You have another abilities too, so that helps me a lot. That's
Thank you for choosing one of your best moments of the school life and share it with us. Next, we know today our president and our I will say again, I'm sorry. And so nervous about this. Okay.
just right.
Okay. Every child has a dream, always. Being a doctor, being a veterinarian, being a bomberman.
No,
Fireman, I'm sorry.
Fireman.
I say so. That kind of person, no. Please tell us, what is your dreaming job as a child? You do it as an adult right now? Ángel. En Spanish, ¿cuál fue tu más grande sueño de ser de profesión? ¿De niño? ¿Lo lograste siendo adulto? ¿O cuál fue tu sueño?
Table topic, Toastmaster, socios e invitados. Pues yo tuve muchos sueños de niño y siempre quise ser, me llamaba mucho la atención, yo quería ser soldado cuando estaba pequeño. No sé por qué, no tengo algún acercamiento, ya sea familiar o amigo que tenga esa profesión o ese trabajo, pero de pequeño yo quería ser soldado. Me llamaba mucho la atención. Después quise ser futbolista, después quise ser doctor, después quise ser variedad de cosas. ¿Lo logré? No lo logré porque pues vas creciendo y vas cambiando tus sueños y tus pensamientos y tus metas. Algo que fue muy cercano fue que me llamó mucho la atención cuando yo entré a la universidad. Yo iba en segundo semestre de mercadotecnia y un amigo se me acercó diciéndome que él quería entrar a la marina. Y cuando me dijo, le pregunté que cuáles eran los requisitos. No lo recuerdo ahorita, pero me pasó un papel donde venían todos. Y algunos yo empecé a hacer como que sí la hago. Cuando le mencioné a mi mamá que yo quería estar en la marina, lo primero que me dijo, estás pero bien, mal, que quieras hacer eso. Porque ya estaba en la universidad y que ya estaba grande y que no estaba para esas cosas. Y mi mamá muy nerviosa, entonces digo, estando tú ahí, posiblemente te tenga muy poquito tiempo. Así que, pues no se me cumplió, pero pudo haber sido un sueño que de niño tuve y que de grande lo podía haber realizado como lo había pensado de pequeño. Seguro.
Thank you for sharing this with us. Actually, let me tell you, I was dreaming when I was a kid, a child. Show to the people what I draw, what I imagine and grow for fantasies, and that is something that I'm working on it, and I'm so happy to be here and say to my inner child, we are doing right now. On process, but we are doing it right now. For the next one, sometimes as a child we have a lot of fears. Sometimes it's based on the myths, sometimes by realities. What do you think about the fears that you have as a child? Marie. I will just say for Spanish, for this question. ¿Qué opinas de los miedos que tenías cuando eras niño?
Table topics after friends and guests. Those fears of my childhood are so far behind me that I hardly remember them, except that I do remember being a very shy child. And my mom was very outgoing, a little bit like Marissa, a whole lot like Marissa. And she just thought it was odd that she would have a child that was afraid to talk to people, because she would talk to a post for half an hour, and we didn't really know why she was talking to everybody that she ran into in the store. Now I have become my mother. So I turn to that part of me that's still a child, and sometimes am in situations that are new and very different, and I feel uncomfortable and insecure. And remember that my training in sales, more than anything, helped me to learn to act enthusiastic, and then I would become enthusiastic. And that helped me a lot to overcome the fears of approaching people, fears of self-judgment reflected through the eyes of other people. So it's been a life journey of learning how to be okay with myself and put those fears, really leave them in the past. And that's more fun. It's really a lot more fun to be myself and enjoy being not like Marissa, but like me. And still I channel my mother every now and then.
Sometimes as a child we have a lot of fears. I remember I was so scared all the time when it started to rain. And hear the thunders, I was scared and I just covered with my blanket. And that's the thing, that the way I forget a little bit is raining. Right now, I enjoy to see the rain, to see how the thunders and the lights coming. It's still like a fear to be here, to be there under the thunder. But right now, I enjoy it a little bit right now. That's the way that we grow to face these fears, to be less or forget about it. The next one, I'm gonna say, tell us about your greatest gift or adventure you had as a child. Nora, tell us about your greatest adventure or gift that you had as a child. Dinos tu más grande regalo o aventura que tuviste cuando fuiste una niña.
Of course, my mind adventure all the time when I was a little child. Table topic, Toastmaster, yes and bye. I remember when I was a little child, I walked to the school and my brothers, of course, sleep in the bed. We are the same school, and always I get up, take a shower, eating the breakfast, and go to the school sometimes walking because I have maybe 10 years old or 9 years old. And always in my mind, with my packet, sing the song. And imagine, I go to the mountain, I go to the sea, I go to the river, always. Because when I walking alone, it is very easy for me. Now, with my a little child, it's the same. Always drinking. And when she asked me, Mama, what are here? Always I drink with my toys, mother. And you are my dream reality now. What is my adventure? Was a little child, mother, and now I have my daughter with me, and same. Imagine many words, many times together.
Thank you. If you have a superpower, like you dream like a child, what would it be? Sofía. Si tuvieras un superpoder que te gustaba de niño o de niña, ¿cuál sería?
Toastmasters, members, guests. Well, when I was a child, I thought about it, but my most dream power was the invisibilidad. Because when I was a child at elementary school, or now secondary, there were that fears that made me feel like I would be better being with my invisibility power, so I can watch other people being themselves. That was the center of that dream power when I was a child.
Thank you. Sometimes we wish to have the power to be invisible. Sometimes when you're embarrassed and you want to be disappear right now. Like as you right now. What was the worst advice you be given? What was the worst advice someone given to you? That's I think it's gonna be better this way. Elba. ¿Cuál ha sido el peor consejo que te han dado de niño?
El peor consejo.
Toastmaster, invitados, amigos. Bueno, yo de pequeña fui muy, no sé cómo se dice extrovertida, bueno, muy traviesa. La verdad, también les había comentado que vengo de un pueblito, nací en un pueblito y realmente, pues aventuras de todas, ¿no? Como se vive aquí en la montaña, las calles empedradas y llueve, sobre todo en este tiempo que llueve hay muchas actividades, ¿no? Sobre todo con los niños. Y pues bueno, yo tenía 5 hermanos, el mayor, Francisco, y el chiquito, yo era la del medio. Entonces, mi hermano mayor tenía una bicicleta grande y el pequeño tenía una bicicleta chiquita. Y yo nunca tuve bicicleta, pero yo quería aprender a andar en bicicleta. Claro que sí. Y bueno, lo peor que me pasó en ese momento es que con todo lo que ganas que tenía de aprender, decía, bueno, la chiquita pues como que se me hacía muy fácil y no sentía que era una bicicleta, ¿no? Y agarré la de mi hermano, a la más grande, pero no me podía subir a la bicicleta. Entonces mi hermano me dijo, pues súbete al cerro y ya te subes y ya vas a poder. Entonces hice exactamente lo que me dijo mi hermano. Me subí al cerrito y yo con trabajos volteaba y yo, no, todavía no, más. Y bueno, dije, ya, ok, me subo a la bicicleta y me dejo ir, ¿no? Así literal, como iba.
No, bueno, el fenómeno es el fenómeno.
Es el consejo que tuve de mi hermana.
Con efectos especiales y todo, ¿eh?
I can imagine how you be on the final of the road. Creo que sí fue muy mal consejo. Finally, I want to invite our guest if he wants to participate today. ¿Te gustaría participar en nuestro Table Topics?
Mario.
¿Mario? ¿Te gustaría participar?
Sí, claro.
¿Sí?
Eso.
Pues párate, Maritoy. Pásale para enfrente.
La pregunta.
What was your least favorite food? You still hate it or you love it right now? ¿Cuál fue la comida que menos te gustaba? ¿La sigues odiando o ahora te gusta?
Well, guys, I'm Mario. Well, I prefer to say this in Spanish because I do not know the name of the vegetable. Do you know what is the name of apio?
Celery.
Celery.
Well, I do not like celery. I didn't like, and I won't like celery. Trust me. I like the vegetables, tomato, carrot, banana. Well, I think it's not a vegetable, but trust me, when I take celery, I have troubles with my stomach. I start with stomachache and have the idea, and I start to feel myself sick and throw up everything. You know, I mean.
Yeah, we understand.
So yeah, that's my vegetable that I don't like.
Thank you. Sometimes, when we was a child, a lot of food that you need to eat right now this, because if you don't eat it right now, you don't be able to grow as well.
They lie to you.
Like me, I've been short because I don't I don't do the things my mom says. She says, eat a lot of carrots and vegetables, and I say, no, I want to fries. I want fries, I want hamburgers, right now, you know. Then, with this last question, we finish the table topics. It's my first time to be here, and I hope you enjoyed to be on the DeLorean to talk with to remember the things that we do when we was a child. And thank you. I think the word to the Toastmaster today, Cynthia. On your papers that Sarana bring to you, you will be able to put the numbers on first place, then the discourse that you say is the best one on basics and also for advanced.
Right, so the basic speakers were Alfredo, Sophia, Elda, and Mario. And advanced were Tim, Marisa, Maureen, Angel, and Nora.
Yeah. May I have another one for them?
Remember is to live again. That's a phrase that Mexicans we great job with the table topics, Ale. Now it's time to know how we did. And I pass the floor to General Evaluator Maureen Jones.
Thank you, Cynthia. We begin this part of our feedback session with the evaluations of the prepared speeches. And the first speech was Alfredo's, and the evaluator is Serena. Would you tell us your evaluation?
Alfredo, thank you for sharing with us this topic, because this is the perfect setting for the Mexicans to understand why they talk the way they do, and for the gringos and gringas to understand why the Mexicans talk the way they do. First of all, opening with a quote is a very powerful way to start a speech, and especially for a beginning speaker, it makes it easy to get it going. Because if you try to start into the topic when you're a beginning speaker, it can be difficult to know how to get it going. So starting with a quote was great. And then you actually repeated it after you explained what you were here to talk about. And I found that wonderfully powerful, because even though I've taken your class on Mexican manners, I wasn't quite sure what you were going to speak about tonight. So the quote, when you started the speech, seemed kind of like, oh, okay. And then you started talking and then repeated it, and I'm like, makes sense now, I get it. So I thought that was very effective. Also, you took an intentional pause after saying, we don't dare to say no. And that was so powerful, because you could have just started talking on, we don't dare to say no because of this and that and the other. And it didn't give us all the chance to stop and go. That's right. Mexicans avoid saying no. We needed to process that, and you did a beautiful job of giving us that pause to process that statement, because it's a big statement. So that was excellent. You use of the phrase that this is an adaptive solution. That's college level discussion, in my opinion, so that was wonderful. And the idea that Mexico is a collective culture, coming from a very individualist culture, that was powerful to me. I felt that the pace, he specifically asked me to pay attention to the pace. So your rate of speed was very good, but where you needed to not slow down necessarily, but perhaps include pauses or transitionary phrases was between the paragraphs. So you went from one paragraph to the next without letting us kind of settle into what you just completed speaking. On the form asks what to challenge yourself. I have one that's a gesture. One of your nervous traits is that you pull on your cuffs of your sleeves, and I've noticed that a lot. So the challenge is to, yes, that's right, and your eyeglasses, to try not to do that. And then as far as the content of your speech, because we are a bilingual club, I would add a couple sentences about what the impact of the directness of Ringos is when Mexicans hear it. So you explain how and why Mexicans don't say no, but that's hard for us, especially Americans. We're very direct. So when you encounter Americans or Canadians and they're direct, is it an affront to the Mexican culture, or they're just used to us? But I just felt that because we have a mixed audience, it would be nice to kind of include that into the speech. But you have a great foundation, and I have some extra notes on the form for you, and I look forward to hearing it again. Very good tips. I really enjoyed your talk.
And Mexicans aren't the only people who refuse to say no. I was in Japan and we kept trying to get money on our ATM card, and the banker would politely hand us back our card and say, call your bank. We wouldn't say no, we couldn't have any money. He'd just say, call your bank. We're in Japan. 40 years ago, we couldn't call our bank. So it was an eye-opener to, oh, how incisive the culture I come from. I was raised in yes, no. And it doesn't, it's not always coming across as polite. So we need to be more incisive using the word update. Our next speaker was Ken, and I am pleased to have gotten to evaluate your talk. I love to hear your story, Ken, because it is so inspiring. It is so nice to hear about a fellow Texan, born in Houston, gone to Austin during Katrina. Telling your stories. Yes, and I especially like how you close. Let's make our club the best. And that's a high energy. When you put your arms up, that's really good body language. Putting your arms up at the end of the speech, you know that that's the close. So that was very, very good. One of the things you may want to work on is that the more speeches you make, the more comfortable you'll get. Of course, the better you'll get. I've seen how you've improved over the last 10 years. You planted yourself right here, and that's a sense of, that gives a sense of confidence, that you're confident and you used your arms really well. In your future speeches, you may want to move around a little bit. We have a special situation here with a spotlight that it's helpful to be aware of when you step out of the light and back into the light. Do you see the difference? And step close to the audience, but then you're out of the light. And that's really for everyone. Moving around the space here, you'll get more comfortable with that as you progress. And I invite you now, this tells us to challenge yourself, tell another story, or tell the same story with a little more color, or maybe more details, about what you're most interested in that, or maybe the most interesting club you visited. When I met you, you had been to, I don't know, 17 different clubs, and several in Guadalajara, different countries, different states, and I would love to hear more stories, a few more details about those clubs that you visited. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Ken, and I'm glad you're back. Our next speaker was Juan Antonio, and his evaluator is Cynthia. Would you like to come up and tell us your evaluation, his speech?
Antonio. Es que lo traduzco. ¿Alguna vez has escuchado la canción de The Greatest Showman, This Is Me? Como era sesión en inglés, traducí Este soy yo y me gustó mucho ese título. Y así quería empezar, This Is Me. Creo que fue un título muy poderoso. Hiciste tu entrada y tu inicio muy fuerte. Yo te vi muy decidido caminando hacia el escenario con convicción. De hecho, empezaste tu frase desde antes de estar aquí parado y eso me gustó mucho. Pero cuando te paraste aquí detrás del estribo, ya no te moviste. Entonces, hay un área de oportunidad en la que puedes trabajar, es usar todo el escenario es tuyo, aprovéchalo, incluso puedes usar tus manos. Me gustó mucho cómo nos llevaste a través de tu familia, nos contaste un poquito de ti, de cómo eras de niño, tus miedos, tus gustos. Pero ¿y qué más? Creo que nos faltó esa parte, ese cierre fuerte. Me hubiera gustado escuchar un poquito más de cómo llegaste de ser niño, de tus miedos, a lo que ya eras hoy, que nos compartieras esa parte. Creo que se quedó algo ahí flotando. ¿Hiciste contacto visual con las personas? Estoy viendo que el escenario lo dominas. Hablar de uno mismo siempre es interesante. Y como te digo, te ayuda a conectar, además de que tienes una gran carisma, tienes una gran sonrisa, nos contagias con ella, pero sigo insistiendo, aprovecha tu tiempo. Alguna vez un buen orador a mí me dijo cuando yo llegué aquí, que si son 7 minutos, aprovéchalos, son tuyos. Háblanos de todo lo que tú quieras. Te destacaste en la comodidad, en tu claridad al hablar y usaste un tono muy, muy adecuado. Creo que un reto que puedo ponerte o proponerte es hacer uso de todo el escenario y tener un cierre fuerte. Así como entraste, así terminamos. Entonces,
Are there any other votes? Any other votes? We are a very, very special club. I tell you, we're the only bilingual club in the area, in the district, in the region. This is wonderful, special, and it gives us special challenges. So now we're going to hear from the evaluation team. First of all, I'm going to ask Cohen to give us your count of O's.
Thank you, Maureen. I need two pages to note. How we start with Owen? You said to us by the. Alfredo, you said to so. Ken, you said 8 us, 1 and 1 so. Antonio, felicidades, no te escuché ninguna muletilla. Ale, you said 11 up. Marisa, you said 1 so. Ángel, un pues. Maureen, you repeat the word off twice. Sofia, you said 7 up and 6 the. Okay. Elda, you said, tú dijiste 6 y largos, 3 e. Mario, you said 5 us, 2 1 the y 1 so. That's it.
Thank you, Coyle. These seemingly small words can be very distracting from the message we want to communicate. great that we count them so that they don't diminish. Our next member of my team who's going to help us with English grammar and the use of our word of the day is Tim Schubert.
First, I want to be incisive. Nobody used incisive. How terrible, how sad. I was going to use a more complicated word that most people who speak English don't use well, and that's trenchant, which means similar to incisive, pero más aguda.
Trenchant?
Trenchant.
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 How do you spell it?
Trenchant.
Trenchant.
It means incisive. But it's a little more.
Cuchillito de palo.
It's a little more firm and not as soft. Owen, you need to think about using at when you want to say how much, at what time something will happen. At, which is not, I don't think is an easy word to pronounce in Spanish, but that would be helpful. Cynthia said hurt instead of heart, and they're very, they're words, it's hard to figure out how it's going to be, but corazón is heart, hurt, dañar is hurt. Alejandra, you had an interesting challenge in that you were talking about things that require the subjunctive in the past tense, and you were stumbling over it some. Fortunately, Alfredo immediately, at the beginning of his speech, gave the answer. I would say, if I had it to do over again, I would have said, are some of the ways. So those are difficult concepts. One of the things about it is to see and hear the ways in which some of you have stumbled on these things makes me I feel less injured by the difficulty it is to learn to conjugate all the verbs in Spanish. The ones in English are not as many conjugations, but they're pretty tricky. Things that were said that were, I thought, really great. That's the way it sounded and the energy. And one was when Maureen said, I have become my mother. And how many of them have become one of our parents? And I like that how that fit into her talk. Antonio did something similar, a similar thing at the end, and I didn't get all the words, but he used triplets, 3 words. One was about 2, and then the last one, and I ate a lot. And I thought that was, but he did that twice at the end, and that was a fairly effective way to do things. Marissa, proposing me doesn't work. Proposing to me. Again, the use of prepositions in Spanish I find almost impossible. I don't know when to say and de, and that's another tricky one. We have dream jobs, not dreaming jobs. I think that was one of Alejandra's little. And past tense of walking. Nora, you said I walk, but it's I walked. And it's very hard to do that because, again, Alejandra said based, and it's based, the ED at the end. And that's a hard thing, I think, for many people to remember and to do right. Sophia, you said some very tricky things. It's like you're not real fluent in English, but you said something that I would be better, that was really good. And your actual pronunciation of the English words is excellent. Maybe the best of anybody tonight. And so you have a good future in learning and being very effective in English because you can pronounce things in a sounds very American English. Mario, celery. I don't, I didn't, and I won't. So we got it in all three tenses, past, present, and future, and I thought that was very effective.
Yes.
And with
Yes,
that,
it was.
And all conjunction.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, English grammar is always so much fun. We don't study it. Native English speakers don't really study English.
English grammar.
No, we just wing it all the time. Just make it up as we go along. Our next part of our team is our timekeeper, most important. So, Owen, would you tell us how we did on time?
Okay, Alfredo en el discurso del speaker is 7 minutos con 58 segundos. Ken is the 5 minutes 20 seconds. Antonio, 3 minutos con 7 segundos. The table topics is Tim, 2 minutos. Marisa, 1.52. Ángel, 1.38. Maureen, Maureen,
38.
38. Maureen, 1.58. Nora, 2 minutos con 6. Sofía, 1.27. Elda, 2.20. Mauro, 1.25. Alfredo, 50 segundos. En evaluaciones, Sarana, 3.48. Maureen, 1.50. Cintia, 2.25. Joel, 1.23. Y Tim, 5 minutos.
Ahí compensó todos los tiempos. Was a compensation en la agenda.
We covered the waterfront as far as a variety of times spoken. We have had a very good session tonight. We stutter and stumble along, and it's partly because we are speaking in a language, most of us are speaking English and making great strides. Great improvement, Alejandra. I'm so happy to see you're using a tense in English that not very many people tackle until they've spoken English for a long time. I would have liked to have been able to help you. Because we don't have a verb system in English, we just use modals and keep the verb the same. That's crazy. One thing I would encourage, oh yes, Alfredo, it is so wonderful to arrive and everything is set up. We're ready to start. But guess what? We have 21 members now. We need more chairs. There were 19 of us tonight, which is wonderful. Thank you. Feel the energy. Just feel how very, very nice it is to have 19 people and applause, people listening, and that's making our club climb to what Ken says, the best club in the world. Yeah. Oh dear. Let's see. Oh, one suggestion. Late arrivals, come in quietly, take a seat, and if there's more seats, that's easier to do. And you did sort of assimilate easily, but coming in late is, remember to get here at 6:45, because we want to get our name tags. For people who are doing a job for the first time, or maybe haven't done one in a long time, we now have manuals. Tenemos manuales de usuario. Manuals that explain the different roles, the general evaluator's role, evaluator's checklist. These are very, very helpful in English and in Spanish. Take it home with you once you sign up for a role. And Cynthia, you must have studied it because your role as Toastmaster of the day was excellent. Your English is getting better every time you do that. Really helps. One suggestion I always make about this, the table topics, when you read the manual, you'll see that to check off people that already have a role and call on people who are not speaking. So the prepared speakers, those scratch them off, you don't call on them. And make sure that everyone who is a member speaks before you call on a guest. So we have a couple of people we didn't hear from tonight, and so that's important to make sure. People that we haven't seen or heard from in a while, that's what we promise, they get to talk at every meeting. I encourage enthusiasm. It's easier to be enthusiastic if you're confident. And if you're not confident, then be enthusiastic and you will be confident. And I told you, we were just at a workshop for a whole week that was Be the Light. So I encourage you to be aware of this spotlight. It's hard to stand here and not see you. But do you see the difference when I'm standing here and you can see me? You can see my facial expressions more easily. And so if you're incorporating that into a prepared speech, to use your facial expressions, be here in the light. If you don't want people to see your face, then stand here and kind of be in the shadow. So I don't know what we can do about that, but it's a helpful tool to have a spotlight. I'm very, very happy that our club is growing. Bring more guests, keep coming, keep bringing enthusiasm, and learning and growing and being better leaders all the time and better communicators.
Chapala, chapala, chapala.
Now,
No, Cynthia. Back to the Toastmasters.
Back to Toastmasters.
It's time for the prizes. Así tenemos.
Son 4, pero uno lo puedes. Para compartir.
No siempre se comparte. Basic. Basics. And third place is for Mario.
Third place.
Oh, great.
Go in front.
In second place, Alfredo. And the first place, Ella.
Advance.
Advance. In third place is for Maureen. Second place is for Marisa. And third place, and first place, Steve.
Putting together for the photo.
Que saque la letrita de todas maneras.
Son dos dedos grandotes y ellos.
Aplausos.
¿Cómo les parto? Pero no
Pero
se hace la mano. A ver, se comparten ustedes.
It's for sure.
Entonces, una que compartimos. Sí. Ah, bueno, que no lo
if you have questions.
Thanks.
Mario, ¿qué te pareció la sesión?
Bueno, pues estuvo bastante bien. Digo, llegué un poco tarde, por lo que no me pudieron explicar muchas cosas. Y pues mi inglés aún no es muy bueno para escuchar a las personas, entonces es un problema. No escuché muy bien, por ejemplo, las tareas que tenemos que poner en los papeles, o lo de la luz, del semáforo. Pero de ahí usualmente, de ahí más adicionalmente, supongo que si habría llegado temprano, me habría entrado más de todo. Por lo que está muy bien acá la sesión.
No sé si te lo comentó Maureen, pero somos un club bilingüe, entonces sesionamos una semana en inglés y una semana en español.
Sí, me comentaron eso.
Entonces la próxima semana será en español, igual para que estás invitado, para que escuches mejor. Y esto es práctica y estar aprendiendo continuamente todos los días. Bienvenido.
Gracias.
I pass the floor to our president, Joel Morando.
Thank you, Cynthia, for a great job as a Toastmaster today. We are a little past of time, so we'll be quick. The rules for next meeting. Cynthia, you have the rules.
Sí. Como Toastmaster, Joel. Table Topics, Ángel. Sí. Y evaluador general, Nora. ¿Sí? ¿Sí? Ok. Y discursos tengo 3, posiblemente 4 por si el hermano quiere, pero no están. Es Marisela, bueno, Fabi. ¿Discurso para la siguiente?
No,
Sí.
pero ya me avisaste, lo preparo y para
Ok, está bien. Sofía. ¿Sí? Va. Ahí está.
Es hablar de ti, chiquita.
Primer discurso.
Primer discurso es hablar que
Pues
4 minutos.
Como lo que hizo Antonio.
Como el que acerca de ti, lo que te gusta, que lo que tú quieras.
Ajá, está bien. Está bien. Bueno, ¿a alguien le gustaría dar discurso? Hay 3 lugares disponibles a la
Sofía.
Pero vamos en el grupo.
Sí, Ale, vamos en el grupo. Ale dijo que sí. Ya
Ok.
tenemos uno. Y en el grupo ponemos la segunda.
Va. Y quiero que le demos un fuerte aplauso a Ángel, que acaba de terminar su nivel 1.
¡Bravo!
What happened?
Oh, Ángel just finished his level 1 in his second topic. This training, this last week training, it was very important to us, and I learned that in many clubs have more roles than usual. For example, the joke master. Does anybody heard about the joke master?
Yes.
Okay. ¿Alguien sabe qué es el joke master? ¿No? Ajá, maestros de chistes, exactamente. Lo que hace el joke master es decir algún chiste al iniciar o al terminar la sesión, para que el ambiente se relaje. What the joke master does is to make jokes. So some 2 minutes probably for jokes. At the beginning of the meeting or the end of the meeting.
I propose tea.
Well, those roles is optional. It's not required. It's not obligatory, pues. But if you want to take some roles more than we have usually, you can do it. Like the joke master or the quiz master. You know what is the quiz master? El Quizmaster lo que hace es preguntar sobre la sesión, de lo que hablamos en la sesión. For example, if Alfredo talk about the why Mexicans don't say no, the Quizmaster just make a quiz and ask somebody, like table topics, to ensure that we are paying attention to
I like that.
It's very important, and we stimulate her everybody pay attention. Right?
So like who give the ¿cómo se dice? El consejo? Who give the advice, the words of advice to Elda?
Yeah.
No?
The brother. Yeah. That's very important.
I will
Kind of
be
person
there
of that.
next session.
Ah, great.
Eso es todo. Eso es todo.
And it's time to renew our memberships. Creo que es a partir de agosto. I think it's since this month. Right? If anybody
No,
wants,
September. I mean, they
It's-
can now, but.
No, but
It's
there are
depends.
some campaigns about the district because we need to strengthen the district with money, and the headquarters give us monies to the district in order that we pay membership. So there are some campaigns in the districts in order to pay early. So if we 8 of us pay before August, and it was the 2 members. ¿Cómo estuvo esa campaña que no nos enteramos? Sí nos enteramos.
la del gallo,
La de, ajá.
ni idea.
De hecho, ninguna, hubo varios, nunca nos enteramos.
Yeah, we didn't hear.
Y ahí lo dejé.
Ajá, and it was like I don't know if we are on time or not yet, but if we pay the complete period, 2 memberships, I mean, September to March and March to September,
Okay.
¿no? O sea, como todo el año completo, we pay just 10 months instead of 12
Okay.
to the
Very good.
offices, and more like that. I don't know if you get it.
No, we didn't hear about it. So, who can pay the dues this month? At the end of this month, please raise your hand if you can pay the dues at the end of this month. ¿Quién puede pagar su membresía al final de este mes?
Pero en mi caso, ¿cómo funciona? Yo pagué desde mayo, ¿se puede? Yo no
Sí.
sé cuándo termina o qué.
Claro, te pagas, ahorita lo que vas a pagar va a ser de septiembre, o sea, tenemos hasta el 30 de septiembre para pagar, y es octubre, noviembre, diciembre, enero, febrero, marzo. Entonces, lo que vas a pagar ahorita en esto va a ser tu membresía pagada hasta marzo.
Entonces la de mayo fue de mayo a agosto, por decir.
Fue de mayo a septiembre.
Antes yo también.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, great. So if you can pay the dues at the end of this month, please go to Sarana, pay the dues, please. That's it. Thank you very much.
No, I have 2 announcements.
Oh, sorry.
I have contacted 2 locations in Riberas to see about moving there. So I hope one is at the Bravo Theater and the other one is at the Unitarian Church. The Unitarian Church Board is meeting next Monday. So maybe in 2 weeks I'll find out if we can move to Riberas and what that would involve. And probably a few of us should go look at the space before we make a decision. But
What was the name of the theater?
the
Bravo.
Bravo.
Bravo Theater and the Unitarian Church.
¿Puedo agregar
And
los
then
que
my other announcement is who wanted to be on the committee for the presentation here at LCS for Open Circle in October. So Alfredo and Marisa, right? And Ken? And Maureen? But you can be on the committee and help us
Oh, I
decide
can be
what
on
to
the
talk
committee,
about,
yeah.
right? Do you wanna be on the committee? So I'll make a WhatsApp group for us so we can set up a time to get together and talk about it because we need a title and a little description about what we're gonna talk about to give to LCS so they can publicize it.
Yes.
Thank you. Alfredo, do you have any other proposal for the place?
Just negative things. I went to the old train station, and the problem is that they close on Mondays. They say no. I also went to the culture house in Chapala, and they say, oh, we just gave the Mondays to the Chapala choir. So, but they say they will look for a place because they say yes to them, but it's not confirmed, and they don't charge a thing. No, they provide the you know, chairs and everything. But the guy said he would call me by Friday. He didn't, so I'm gonna go this week to find out. The problem there probably is gonna be again this parking.
Was that a yes with a no line?
Yeah.
Ok, lo que dice Alfredo es que, bueno, preguntó en la antigua estación y dijeron que no, porque cierran los lunes. Y en el Centro Cultural de Chapala, que es era la antigua presidencia, dijeron que sí, pero ese día está ocupado para el quórum de Chapala.
Iban a revisar si iba a haber cambio y ya. Pero no me avisaron, yo voy a ir a preguntar.
Ok, perfecto. Nos mantiene al tema. Bien. ¿Algún otro aviso? Another announcement? Thank you very much. It was a great session and close the meeting being, I don't know what time.
There's a clock now.
Okay. What time? No se le dé su
Gracias.
I see you put the